Just think, Chucky's gonna be a bro.
Wrong again, wimp.
Chucky's back.
Child's Play 3 is the third entry in the Child's Play series and is the last Universal title to use the term Child's Play. This movie is a sequel to the second movie, which came out a year before. And in fact, this movie was actually shot, like, due to test screenings from Child's Play 2 being so positive, this movie was actually, like, greenlit and fast-tracked so ahead of time before Child's Play 2 even hit theaters. Like, when Child's Play 2 hit theaters, they were already shooting Child's Play 3. By the time Child's Play 2 was on home video, Child's Play 3 was done wrap production, already had a poster out for the third film. Ain't that ridiculous? Yeah. So, John LaFia did not return to direct this movie because he was already, like, imposed on Child's Play 2 and everything. He's like, I can't make two movies at once. So instead, the studio greenlit the movie and then hired new director, Jack Bender, to direct it. And this time around, Don Mancini did return to write the movie, in which Don Mancini said this one of the movies he does regret writing. Not the only one he regrets writing, I'm sure of it. See you, Chucky. Sorry. But yeah, Don Mancini wrote this, said he was kind of out of ideas, and he just kind of winged it and said, yeah, let's sit in the military school, you know. And of course, he had an idea of using, 16-year-old Andy Barclay, and so obviously they couldn't bring back Alex Vincent since he was still a kid, so they had to rehire somebody, and so this time around, they had a guy named Justin Watland, who you may know from the Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. He played Jimmy Olsen starting around season 2. And so he played the role of Andy Barclay, which Mancini said he wanted Jonathan Lamb, is it Jonathan Brendis or Jonathan Lamb? I think it's Jonathan Brendis. He played Little Billy in the It miniseries. He wanted him, but the studio said, well, let's cast Justin Watland. And of course, the movie does star Justin Watland as Andy Barclay. It also stars Perry Reeves as Andy's love interest, Jeremy Silvers, Andrew Robinson, who you may know from Hellraiser. Yeah, he was the lead, he was the dad in Hellraiser, who becomes the final villain in the end of the movie. It also stars Peter Hesquin. And, of course, how can we forget Brad Dourif as Chucky? Which, this was the last Child's Play movie for a while up until Bride. Like, because the box office returns were not successful in this movie. The movie is essentially a continuation of Child's Play 1 and 2, where it picks up where this time around Chucky is awakened because of his blood gets in, like, mixed with a doll, and so I guess the blood bond builds up and he becomes his soul into a new doll. And so basically what it is Chucky goes around killing people again. Chucky goes around killing people again, you know, this time at a military school. It's not that original. In fact, Child's Play 1 and 2 are really good movies. Child's Play 3 is okay. Like, there are some good moments in the movie. What I really liked was there's a scene where Chucky loads the live ammunition into... apparently there are these things in military school that if you go there, like, you know, they're like, it's kind of like a dummy round, like a War Games type thing. It's called War Games. Well, apparently that's a real thing in real life. I did not know that because I've never been there. And so apparently Chucky takes, you know, use dummy rounds. He actually loads live rounds in there, and they use and actually kill like one of this asshole in the movie who's like, you know, like this, like, you know, military dude that's like gives Andy lots of shit throughout the movie. And I'm like, come on, really? I mean, he's not doing nothing. He's just weird. Come on. This military dude's like, oh yeah, it's like a dick measuring contest with him. He's like, oh yeah. He said, you, and then he's like, like gives a weird ass speech. Like, here he goes, you know, this is my rifle, this is my gun, and this is for fun. I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, the movie has some fun moments in the movies, like, you know, but it also has, like there are some great moments. Like, I really love the moment with, you know, like the barber. Andrew Robinson, who plays the barber in the movie. He's like this barber at the military school. He's actually a fun character to stay with for a while. And even though the movie's not great, like, the movie to me is just like the same thing. In fact, the movie was so fast-tracked, and so there was even lines that were cut from the movie. In fact, there was one line where... because Chucky's trying to transform himself into this African-American kid, there was one line that was cut from the movie where Chucky's like, Chucky's gonna be a brother now. And so, like, the studio's like, you better not put that line in the movie. And, like, they shot the line and everything. Brad Dourif recorded it. It was everything. And I think it might still be in some TV spots or trailers out there. And I was like, because I was doing research, I'm like, oh my god, they actually put that line in the movie. I'm like, really? I mean, it's not that bad of a line, but still, like, I was like, come on. Like, I was like, even at 1991, really? And I was like, but, yeah, they had, like, you know, there's stuff like that. And then also, there was supposed to be an alternate opening. Like, you know, originally the opening for Child's Play 3 was going to be about John Ritter, who would go on to star and co-star in Bride of Chucky as the chief of police, as the chief that Chucky and Tiffany end up murdering with needles in his head and puts in the, you know, they puts him in the trunk and then he comes back to life and Tiffany stabs him to death. Yeah. Well, apparently originally he was supposed to be in this film as a security guard in a cameo at the beginning, and some kids apparently go in there, sneak into the factory while he's walking around, and he goes around, and so when he's walking around the factory, the old factory from the, you know, the second movie, and some kids are talking, like they tell the legend of Chucky out, and kind of Friday the 13th Part 4-esque, you know. And so basically, they decided because of budget constraints, no, we're not going to do that because we have to build a whole set and everything, so they decided to do this instead. You know, and which is fine, but, you know, and John Ritter has to play in Chucky movies in the next movie, so that's fine. And which, I will say that, you know, Don Mancini, when he wrote the movie, he did say that he said he had a lot of ideas that the studio kept rejecting. The studio, he would say, oh, why don't we do this? And the studio's like, no, we're not doing that because, one, they want to try to stay on budget because they were trying to say, look, we're trying, if we spend less, we get to make more. And Don Mancini's like, that's not how that works. And also, they were building sets. Then, of course, he said they kept changing ideas. And then, like, you know, he was so afraid to get fired. That's what he was just agreeing to what they were saying, which, you know, you should never do that. But then again, because, you know, you got to compromise, but sometimes you don't have to compromise. The movie itself, like, you know, I just don't think the guy who plays Andy, Justin Watland, did a good job. I just feel like, to him, it's just, I don't care for him. Like, I don't believe that that's Alex Vincent. You know, I don't believe, because one, they don't even look the same. Justin Watland doesn't, I don't even think he's white. So I'm like, you know, Alex Vincent's white. I was like, I don't understand. This dude's not even the same race as Alex Vincent. I mean, I don't know what race he is. I'm just saying, I think he's not white, because I'm starting watching one. I don't think, you know, I guess, like, you know, it'd be kind of like if you cast Idris Elba to play The Rock. You know, I'm like, I don't think, you know, that would work out too well. You know, I was like, because one, we know what The Rock looks like. You know, we know both they're fantastic actors and both are my favorite actors, but it wouldn't work out. Which I'm not saying this with Child's Play. Child's Play 2, I would say, you know, it's weird. You know, like Child's Play 3 is a little weird because it's like, you know, it also does, like, you know, the guy tries to give a doll a shave, and then like, just tries to shave the doll's head. And also Chucky, there is some cool kills in the movie. I will say that's the one thing the movie has for it, is some cool kills. But at the same time, the movie's not very good. Like, the movie, I'm sitting here watching the movie, and I'm like, this movie's not very good. You know, I mean, it does have some interesting stuff, like, you know, it has at the fair, you know, like the fair scene I thought was really cool, and like, you know, the carnival, whatever scene, I thought that was really cool. And I will say the you know, war game scene is fantastic. You know, some stuff that was really unique, and I think that's credit to Don Mancini. And I mean, it's not to shit on the whole movie. I mean, it's definitely better than Seed at Chucky. But at the same time, it just kind of, you know, it's kind of like just fades away in obscurity, you know, because after you watch it, you're just going to forget about it an hour later. It doesn't stand the test of time like Cult of Chucky. Not Cult of Chucky, Bride of Chucky. Or, you know, even the first Child's Play movie, or Child's Play 2. Like, those movies, they stand the test of time. This movie really doesn't stand the test of time. And just like, you're going to watch it and go, okay, it's forgettable, you know? I mean, all in all, if I had to give it a grade, I would say it's a C+.
Child's Play 3. Look who's stalking.
A haircut ain't regulation, soldier.
Regulate this!